Hey guys, what's up? So we're trying something a little bit different today. I'm trying to do a podcast and a YouTube at the same time. I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. But what I really want to talk today about is I kind of, last year I went to Las Vegas like every 90 days about, and that's pretty much like my perfect schedule for going to Las Vegas. Uh, I absolutely love Las Vegas. I considered moving there a while back, but I was married. We have a kid, and we just had one, and I'd like to have more, but it seems almost a little wrong to like raise your children in Las Vegas. It's Sin City. You have the strip, you have the gambling, you have the prostitution, you have all that crazy stuff. Not to mention, if you take two steps off the strip, there's just junkies everywhere. But despite all of that, I absolutely love Las Vegas. I have tons and tons of great memories there. Not just of gambling. I mean, I have a lot of good memories gambling, obviously. Um, but also just like hanging out with friends, like meeting up with friends there, stuff from college, even like meeting family there. Because my grandparents on my dad's side, they lived in Yuma, Arizona. And then they kind of like travel all around the country. So one of the last times I saw my grandfather alive was actually in Las Vegas. So it's always kind of like meant a lot to me. I don't know. I'm really attracted to Las Vegas. I really love Las Vegas. And maybe like down the road, I would consider retiring, or maybe if I was semi-retired, I could like live out my life there. Because obviously, when you're old, you don't want to shovel snow or anything like that. But so I love Las Vegas, and probably I'll just share with you a couple like kind of funny stories from when I was there, and seeing Las Vegas on TV with like the streets being totally empty and the casinos being shut down and everything, and like no one on the streets. It kind of reminds me of the financial crisis in 2008, 2009. And actually, the March of 2008, me and some of my friends took our spring break from college, and we decided to go to Las Vegas because me and one of my buddies from college, like he had been there a bunch of times. He'd been there with his brother. He liked to gamble. Obviously, we both like to party. And so we kind of got like a little group from Lincoln together. And then we had some other friends that lived in, I think, Phoenix at the time. And then they were going to drive up and meet us there. And then we had some other friends in Canada, and they were going to be there at the same time. So it was like totally perfect. But we got to Las Vegas, and it was completely dead. There was like nobody there because of the recession. And when you're in college, you don't, especially in Nebraska, if there's a recession in the rest of the country, it doesn't really hit Nebraska like it hits other states. So we're kind of like insulated. But when we got to Las Vegas, I mean, there was like nobody there. It was completely insane. Like out of all of the table games, even at Caesars, there was probably like one or two poker tables open, one roulette table. I mean, there was nobody there. So, it was kind of like sad because it was like, this place is totally dead, but it was also like kind of cool because we could like get into all the nightclubs. We could into all the bars, and we didn't have to wait in line. So like we got to go to all these like cool bars. I remember the bar, or the nightclub that everyone was like obsessed with at the time, was Wet at Caesar's Palace. And we got in there. The other one that was really popular because of, I think it was the Real World or Road Rules, something like that. I'm like really aging myself. They had a season where they lived, I guess, at the Palms, and the Ghost Bar, which is at the top floor of the Palms, was on that show all the time. So we were like, oh, we should like go see the Ghost Bar. And not only do we not even have to pay a cover charge, we got up there like straight away. I mean, we just walked up there, took the elevator up to the top, checked it out. And there was like, I think like 10 people up there. So It was pretty insane. But the day before Easter was kind of like everyone that we were meeting was there, and we decided to go to I don't know, some nightclub at the Venetian. I don't remember. Tao, yeah, Tao. It's all coming back to me. So we just decided to go to Tao, and it was me, my roommate, his girlfriend, and then some other girls from Phoenix, and one of our other buddies from Phoenix. So we all went to Tao together. At the time, I was like a raging alcoholic, so it didn't really matter. I could be drinking all day and all night, and it really wouldn't affect me. And I think it's kind of a sidebar, but the day of the flight when we went home from Las Vegas back to Omaha, I like tallied up and that I had like drank every night for 23 nights in a row. So that's like a pretty serious partying. But so anyway, I'm getting off track here a little bit, but we decided like, let's go to Tao. We can get in, even if we have to pay a cover. There's 3 guys and like 5 girls. So we'll get in, we can pay the cover. The cover really wasn't that bad. It was like $25. I mean, when you're in college, that seems absurd, but in retrospect, $25, not that bad for Las Vegas. We got in, we were partying, and then 2 of the people left. So it was me, my roommate, his girlfriend, and then this other girl. And the other girl we were with, she was like doing fine when we were in the nightclub. But then we decided like to leave. It was like, I think it was pretty late. It was like 4 or like 4:30. So we got out of the nightclub, and Tao's at the Venetian. I don't know if you're familiar with the Venetian, but basically the Venetian is, well, I guess kind of all of them are like this, but you see it from the street, and it has like a horseshoe drive where you pull in to go to check in or like to go into the casino. And then up on top above like the horseshoe is another horseshoe where there's a walkway, and that brings you right directly into like the stores and the nightclub. And then from there you go down escalators if you want to go to the casino floor. So when we got out of Tao, we went out on this like walkway, and that walkway overlooks like where all the cars are at and where people are like getting dropped off, and like town cars and Ubers and taxis and stuff. So we got out there, and this chick starts projectile vomiting off of like the handrail onto like the people in cars below. And then she just like totally passes out. But I mean, like, what do we do? So me and my roommate are like, well, what are we going to do with this chick? And we knew her. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but we knew her. So we're like, we can't just leave her here. And her friend is already gone. So we're like, well, let's just carry her because she's pretty small. We're both pretty big guys. So we're like, well, let's just carry her down and like get a cab and bite the bullet and pay for a cab. We were staying at the Flamingo. So the Venetians are pretty far away from the Flamingo walking wise, but not a super far cab drive. So we're like, well, let's just take her down to the cabs, and then we'll just take a cab ride home, blah, blah, blah. So we took her down there, and no cabbie would let her in because she had throw up on her. So, and this was stupid, but we're like, well, let's just carry her. We'll just carry her back. We'll just carry her. I would carry her for a while, and then my roommate would carry her for a while, and then I would carry her for a while. So we're carrying this chick back from the Venetian to the Flamingo. Meanwhile, now it's Easter, so people on the street are like yelling Easter 2008 at us, so like taking pictures with us as we're like walking by. And then we kind of get into this like little area where it kind of bottlenecked down, and there was like a bunch of cops. So we're like, oh my God, we're going to get like questioned because it looked like we just roofied some chick that we were like dragging out of like a club, God knows what. And we walked by the cops, and they pretty much had the same attitude, like laughing, yelling Easter 2008. So that's like a pretty like fun story there. And then at the same time, one of my other friends was playing roulette, which he didn't really know how to play. And, but he actually like a couple of nights won like $2,000 or $3,000, just like beginner's luck. So it was a pretty fun trip. But, every time every time I would go to Las Vegas, and still, I'm always trying to find like an idea of, if I move to Las Vegas, is there any way that I could like get involved as far as like, is there a business idea? Is there some way I could take advantage of all the people coming in town? And it's pretty difficult because all the casinos, those are like big businesses, obviously. So the casinos like pretty much have everything locked down. It's like really difficult to find an angle besides like, I guess you could have a cab company, but I don't know how successful that would be with Uber and everything. So it's just, I've thought about it for like a long time of trying to find some angle, because it's like, well, you can't, just a lot of things don't work because of like just the way the city is. It's like once you're on the strip, you can't even like get a glass of water. I mean, it costs like $6 for a glass of water. Last time me and my wife were there, I was really, really thirsty because I don't drink, and like the waitresses don't really like to come to me because I'm getting pop, and I'm like, well, I'll tip you like $1 to get me a pop. So I was like, I can't stand it. Like, I'm so thirsty, I have to go up to the bar. So I went up to the bar, and I was getting a water, but my wife was like, will you get me a lemonade? No. I went up to the bar to see like how much a water would even be, because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be like $12. So I went up, and the bartender, and I was like, can I just get a glass of water? Like, how much is that going to be? And the bartender's like, come on, like, give me a break. We're not totally like heartless. It's free. So I was like, oh, sweet. So I took that back, chugged it. And then my wife was like, well, can you get me a lemonade? And I was like, yeah, I'd like another water too. So I went back up to the same bartender, and I was like, oh, can I have my water refilled? And then I'd also like a lemonade. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And he brings it back, and he's like, that's $8. So the water is free, but the lemonade's $8. So they pretty much have it like fully locked down. So there's some other things that I've been like thinking about as far as Las Vegas goes. And I kind of had like a good idea today when I was thinking about this, because I wanted to like talk a little bit about Las Vegas, because I've just been thinking about it because I want to go and I can't. So my idea, and this is the business idea of the week, and this is specifically for Las Vegas. And what it is it would be a tour company. And there's lots of tour companies, obviously, in Las Vegas. You can do like the mob tours, where you go around and they talk to you about the different casinos and what mobsters lived there, or how the mob was involved in building them, or how they did money laundering schemes and stuff out of them. So there's those. There's ones that are just like strictly for partying. There's a lot of those, right? So you might be going there for like a bachelor or bachelorette party, and they have already like pre-tailored tours where they get you into nightclubs and get you drink specials, stuff like that. But this is kind of a different take, and something like this might exist because who knows with Las Vegas? I mean, stuff pops up and goes away every day, right? So this is a gambling tour, and this is kind of I'm going to do like kind of like two twists on it. So if I had a company like this, and this would be perfect for like if you wanted to like retire or semi-retire, or let's say you like just graduated college and you're like, fuck it, I want to just like have fun, meet people, drink, make money, because I think you could make a lot of money doing this, right? Make money, hang out, like have like a hell of a time. I think that this could be good for somebody like that. Or it could be good for like if you're like somebody who's just like, I'm just sick and tired of my job and I want to go out and I just like want to party. I want to have fun, whatever. So what it is it's a gambling like guided tour through Las Vegas. And I would kind of start it out with like two things. So the first one is for like beginning gamblers. So when I first went to Las Vegas, I like Las Vegas probably because a lot of my family like goes to Las Vegas fairly frequently. My grandparents have been there, I don't know, probably hundreds of times. My aunt and uncle go all the time. My cousins go. So going into it, I knew how to do like a lot of the games, right? So I knew how to play poker. I knew how to play 21 or blackjack. I knew about slot machines. I had like a pretty like fair like understanding of like gambling, but I didn't know how to play roulette. I didn't know how to play craps. And then in Las Vegas, obviously they had lots of different other games. They're getting a lot of games too that are like Pai Gow poker and like mahjong that are tapered more to like Asian cultures, because there's a big influx of people immigrating from Asia to California, and then also a big population of Asian Americans in Las Vegas. So they have a lot more like Asian games. I've never really played any of those, but they look pretty interesting. So the kind of the take with the beginner thing, and even for somebody like me, like mahjong or Pai Gow poker, is when you go to like a casino, when you go to Caesar's Palace or Bellagio or whatever, and there's like tons of people on a table, you don't want to be like holding up the game and looking like a fool, like trying to like ask the dealer for like information. Especially like on a craps table, if somebody's like on a roll, you don't want to be like, now what is like pass, no pass? Like what am I doing here? You want to look like an ass, and you don't like want to make a fool of yourself. So like a lot of times what people will do is they'll just like make a bet, and they don't really know what they're doing. And a lot of like, especially table games, you're kind of like throwing away your money if you don't know what you're doing, especially like, I would say especially in craps. Because if you do, what are they called? Kind of drawing a blank now. But if you do like side bets, like, like I'm going to bet on a specific number, I'm going to bet on snake eyes or whatever, those are like literally just throwing money out the window if you don't know how to play. So I think that on this tour, what I would do, how I would structure it, is I would have one tour that would just be for beginners. And let's say my tour would start, this is hypothetical, right? So my tour, let's say, would start like Monday, and like you would stay through, let's say, Thursday. And every like morning or every afternoon or late morning, whatever, at like 11 o'clock, everyone would meet at like, let's say, Caesar's Palace. And then I would say like, we're going to start off at like the craps table. And then the tour guide would basically like go through exactly like how to play craps for free. So like no one was playing with live money. And then you go through how to like play the game, play like a bunch of like, have everybody in the tour like play a bunch of like practice hands. And then like start playing at Caesar's, and then like go to like different, a couple different casinos like throughout that day. And then at each casino, like you would work out something with the casino because you're bringing people in the door, right? Which is important to them. You'd work something out where it's like, well, they would get so much like free play, or they would get like double the amount of like credit if they like have like, let's say like an M Life club, if you signed up for like a players club, or maybe you could give the people on your tour different like kind of drink specials. I know that drinks are technically quote unquote free if you're gambling, kind of, but or you could be like, over lunchtime, you give like lunch or food vouchers out that are good at Caesar's Palace or good at Bellagio or whatever hotel you're at. So they get the experience of learning how to gambling, and then also like some extra like goodies on top too, because you got to throw stuff like that in. So I think that would be really good for like beginners. And then another like fun thing too is not only are you like bringing them around to like different casinos to like play this like table game, you would also like walk them or like take a bus to like different casinos, and you could talk about the different casinos and like what they have to offer, and show them like the stores and give them some like history and stuff like that too. So it wouldn't just all be gambling. It would be kind of like sightseeing mixed with gambling. So they would like learn some stuff too. So I think that would be like really a good idea. So that's for beginning gamblers. And a lot of the other tours that I've seen in Las Vegas, like the party ones or whatever, they're for like one day. Obviously the party one, like if you're doing a bachelor party, what might be for 1 or 2 days. And it's like $89 per person, or anywhere between like 89 and up per person. But that's just really for like stuff at night, right? So like 11 to like 3 in the morning, where this thing would be more like hands-on. You'd be like teaching them. So kind of be like a gambling school and like the tour. So I think you could charge a little bit more. Let's say you're charging $100 and like you could get like 25 to 50 people like in your tour, depending on how many you could handle. So I think like one tour guide, I think you could handle about like 20 people, but then like when you have people break out for like practice gambling, like you'd have to work something out with whatever casino you're at, for the dealers to like assist you as far as showing people how to play. But I think the casinos I think would be open to that, especially like maybe a smaller casino, if they knew that those people were going to like stay and play and spend money. So if you did 25 people at $100 per day, that's $2,500 a day. If you did it for 4 days, that's what is that? 10 grand. So that's pretty good. And if you're a one-man operation and you could run this like as one person, that's like really good money. 10 grand per week. I could have a lot of fun in Las Vegas for 10 grand a week. So that's for beginners. And then the other one would be for people who have been to Las Vegas a lot, or at least experience like table game players. And I would revolve this around, especially for beginners, I would revolve it a lot around table games because those are more interactive, and you can kind of like slow down the amount of pain, right? Because if you're at a slot machine or video poker, you can play really fast and lose small amounts of money per hand, but you're playing like hundreds or thousands of hands. And if you're like me, I go to Las Vegas and I pretty much gamble the entire time I'm there until my eyes are bloodshot and my hair is like totally like standing on end. It looks like I put my finger in a light socket because I'm just so frazzled. And like for me, I love to gamble, but I only like to gamble in Las Vegas. And if I'm not winning, I get like pretty like upset. So I just like the ride of it, and I don't know why that is. It's actually probably not good for my heart, but that's fine. So the second tour I would do would be for people who are more experienced. And what I would do for this one is it might be like, again, like 3 or 4 days or whatever. You could play around with how many days it would be. But I follow how I got the idea for this is I follow a bunch of Twitter accounts that follow news in Las Vegas. And they also they report on like jackpots, and they report on like trends. So like if people keep hitting jackpots or if there is like a lot of like news throughout the city in Vegas about like one casino or like one bank of machines at a casino like paying out a lot, and it kind of like word gets out. And they also report on different jackpots. So I think that you could do kind of like a tour where you take the people on your tour to like I would call it hot slots. So that would be for like slot machine players, because you do hear a lot about one game or like one casino or whatever where like the slots are paying out. And a lot of these Twitter accounts I follow, like people will send in and be like, hey, like this machine's hitting, and then other people will go play it. And if they hit it, they'll send it in. So you kind of get like some like, I guess I would call it like hive intel from people like out on the streets playing. And then there's other things too that you hear a lot about if you like keep track of this stuff. So there's a poker game at the Palazzo or at the Venetian, and it's a regular poker game. I don't know. I didn't look up exactly like how much like each hand is. Probably like 40 or 50 or $70 per hand. But on that game, along with like your buy-in or your bet, you can place a $5 side bet, and it's a progressive jackpot, and it starts at I think $1 million. And if you get dealt a natural royal flush, you automatically win the progressive. And I think last year it paid out 4 times. So that's pretty interesting. That's a pretty interesting like progressive side bet on a game that you don't see everywhere. So on this tour, I would include like everything unique like that. And another unique game that me and my wife have like done really well on is if you go to the Gold Coast hotel and casino, which is basically across the street from the Palms, they have a huge bingo room, and every what is it? Every other hour, I think, they have like live bingo, which sounds really like cheesy. That kind of sounds like Vegas Vacation, like National Lampoons with Chevy Chase or whatever, where he's playing games like heads or tails or like pick a number. But the thing about bingo is it keeps going until somebody wins. So a lot of times, like me and my wife, we went there. We try to go like the slowest times of the year. So we try to go in between like Thanksgiving and Christmas and some other times that are slow. And a couple times we were in there, it was like me and her and like literally 10 other people. So your chances of winning are pretty good. And I actually hit like a progressive bingo because I do all this other side stuff too. And I won like $1,500. So I would like include stuff like that is just like fun, offbeat. Another thing is like if you would know like about like good like poker rooms, stuff like that. So that would help. That would be appealing to people like me who are like more experienced and like want like different kind of gambling experience from just your run of the mill. And I think for that, because you're like kind of giving away like inside information, that you could charge a little bit more. And then you could also, along with that, like you could do like hotel deals and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of angles to like work that kind of a tour thing. And I think that like a gambling tour is something that's kind of like, I haven't really seen. Again, it might be out there. I have no idea. So obviously that would be, right now you would be making no money because the city shut down. In an economic recession, Las Vegas takes a real big hit. But in like the boom times, I think that you could make like a ton of money doing that, and you could raise and lower your price as demand fluctuates. So I think that could be really good, and it would be like a lot of fun. Like I could see myself, if I was semi-retired, doing something like that. So anyway, I just came up with that idea. I thought that was a pretty like fun idea. You might not make you a multimillionaire, but it would be a lot of fun doing it. So that's the idea of the week. And then kind of going along with the theme of Las Vegas, or that's the idea of the week. Going along with the theme, I got a deal of the week that's in Las Vegas. It's Las Vegas, Clark County. And what it is a cell phone service, activation, sales, repairs, and accessories. And I think that like cell phone repair and sales and stuff like that, I think that's a really good business because, you know, it doesn't tell me in the teaser like what carriers they offer, but I think it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, let's say you're like carrying, and I don't know if you have this everywhere, but like let's say you're like carrying Cricket or one of these like secondary carriers. I think that there's like a big demand for that for people who either don't want to like deal with the Verizons and Sprints of the world, or maybe they're looking to do something cheap, or like they're looking to do something like not on contract. And I've known some people in Omaha that have had like cell phone repair, activation, sales businesses that have done really well. And there's a family in Omaha, and I think they have like 12 or 13 locations that do this. And they also sell accessories like this business does, which are like really high margin, like phone cases. The margins on like a phone case, and you probably know this if you ever bought one on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon for like $2, and if you go into a brick and mortar place that sells stuff like that, it's like 10 times the price or whatever. So I think it's really good. They're asking $2.275 million. This business has a gross revenue of a little over 5.7, and a cash flows a little over $907,000. They have $125,000 of inventory. The business was established in 2008. It's a franchise with 5 locations in Las Vegas. Like I said, mobile phone service, accessories, activation, repair. Tons of different accessories are available to sell with that. So If you want information on this business, call. Sorry, I got it printed out here. Oh, here's some additional information. So it's like I said, it's in Las Vegas. They have 20 employees in 5 locations. They are leasing the 5 buildings. They'll do a seller carryback for 18 months at 6% interest, so that's pretty decent. They say they'll stay on for trading 21 calendar days, and the reason that they're selling it is because they're moving. So that's just kind of a brief overview. The business is listed by First Choice Business Brokers, and the agent is George Carras. His phone number is 702-290-9120. If you want more information and you didn't catch that, you can always shoot me a message or shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the show notes as always, so you can hit me up there. But I thought that was a pretty interesting business. And the other thing I like about like a cell phone business like that is you pretty much have to have a cell phone now. And that's going to be something where you're getting, especially in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas has grown it's usually one of the fastest growing cities. Well, Cook County at least, and then also the surrounding counties. Henderson. And I don't know if Henderson's in Cook County or not. But Henderson and Las Vegas are always 2 of the fastest growing cities. And right now, even though the economy isn't like doing really well because of the coronavirus, those areas continue to grow because people, like I touched on in the last episode, are fleeing California because of the taxes, and Nevada has no state income tax. And the real estate tax in Las Vegas or in Nevada is not bad. So you're going to be getting an influx of people that's going to be pretty steady for the foreseeable future. And something like a cell phone store is going to be like pretty steady Eddie, pretty boring. Obviously with 5 locations, you're going to have some management skills. And with 20 employees, you're going to have some management skills to make sure the merchandise isn't coming in the front door and going out the back. But despite those reasons, I think it's pretty good. Another thing in Las Vegas is if you're in like the building contracting field, there's tons of building going on there all the time. Whenever the economy is good, it seems like Las Vegas just explodes. But kind of rambling about Las Vegas. But okay, so let's get to the 3 critiques of the week. And these are just 3 businesses people have asked me about, or that I've possibly stumbled on my own, or that are trending online that I keep seeing day in and day out that I want to talk about. So the first one I want to talk about, I saw somebody asking, I don't know where it was at, probably Facebook or something. And it was like somebody, I remember. It was like an entrepreneur Facebook group that I'm in. And this guy was like a kid. He was going to college, and he was like, what is a good business for me to get into while I'm going to college? And somebody said a laundry service for his like classmates. And I've heard of other kids. I didn't know anybody in college that did this, and I didn't think about it. If I would have thought about it, I probably would have done it. I had some other things going on in college that I was working on. I didn't think about this, but this is a good one because mommy and daddy are not there to do your laundry for you anymore in college. And a lot of kids don't know how to do their laundry, believe it or not. My parents made me do my own laundry. Basically, they said, like, you can take care of your own shit. You're the one getting it dirty. We're buying it for you, so the least you could do is learn how to wash it. So this is a laundry service for a college student, which I think is really good, right? Because if you live in the dorms, like I went to the University of Nebraska, and you had to live in the dorms, I think, the first year. If you lived in the dorms, I lived in like brand new, nice dorms, and there was laundry like right on the floor. So that was like pretty simple. Then I moved into a fraternity house, and we had laundry at the fraternity house, but I think I like took my laundry somewhere else because it was so disgusting in the fraternity house that I went to like a coin laundry place. And then I lived off campus in a house, and it was disgusting, but we had laundry in the kitchen. So I did it there. But not every place you lived on campus like had like easily accessible laundry. Some of it had it in the basement. I know like a lot of the shitty rental houses around the University of Nebraska like didn't have laundry or it didn't work or whatever. So like coin laundry was a pretty big deal. And just like adults like me and you, and probably even more so, when you're in college, you're really lazy. And if mommy and daddy are giving you money to be at college, you're going to blow it on stupid stuff. Like you'd be susceptible to have somebody else come just take your laundry from you, do it, and then return it folded. So I think that that's a really good, a really good service. And I think, not every college kid is going to want to pay for that, but but you have to think about on a college campus, that's a huge amount of people and they're in close proximity. So like, even if you only were getting, if it was a pretty low percentage, that's still a lot of like clientele, I guess is what I'm saying. And you wouldn't necessarily like have to even take it from the university to like a coin operated laundry spot. You could figure out like where you could just do it on campus. Like what I would do is if people were too lazy to do it and I lived in dorms where there was easily accessible, an easily accessible like washing machine and dryer, I would just bring it over there and just use all of the washers and dryers at the same time. Or if I had a house close, I would maybe like buy extra washers and dryers and just have like a little like washer and dryer farm where I could do it really quickly and efficiently. And I think I would set it up. I think the real good way to do this is like set it up as a subscription, like a monthly subscription where you're like, hey, I'll do your laundry for you for like $30 a month or whatever. Because when you're in college, that's like the farthest thing from your mind is getting your laundry done. And I would have it set up where it's like you get unlimited washes for $30 a month, but you have to like contact me to come pick your stuff up or drop it off. So a lot of times people are going to be paying you $30 and they're only going to use your service once or twice. So you're getting like 15 or 10 or $5 per load. And that's like pretty cheap. And $30, that's just like a number I'm throwing out there. That's not what I'm recommending that you would do. You'd have to figure out the market yourself. But I think that's really good. And I think that's really good for like a kid to do because I learned the most in college, not necessarily in class. And this would be like a really good learning experience for any like 18, 19, 20-year-old kid to like responsibility to take on because you'd be learning how to run your little business. You'd be learning how to market, how to sign people up, collecting pay, getting pay up front, which is what I would do, get their credit card. This kid, if he wants to do this, would really be learning a ton. So I think that's a really like cool idea. And I think laundry service would be really good. Play off the laziness of college students. The next one somebody asked me about is a home daycare. And they were basically saying, look, me and my husband are stuck at home anyway with the coronavirus quarantine. And we have 2 kids here. There's other kids coming and going, like their parents want to go back to work. And now they're talking about maybe like not even having school next year, which boggles my mind. That's totally idiotic. As far as I'm concerned, that's just my opinion and I don't want to hear your opinion on it. So an in-home daycare, it sounds a lot simpler than I think it really is. My mom tried this when I was a kid, and it was like kind of a debacle because my sister was pretty young, but she was old enough to know like her own toys were hers. And then there was these other kids like coming into our house, like playing with her toys. So that created like a problem. The other thing is when you have a kid and you're paying for childcare, you're like, God, this is like so expensive. But when you're having kids come into your house and you're like watching them all day and feeding them, you're like, I'm giving away my time to like watch these kids. But some people that would be like the perfect job for them. Some people just love kids. They love to be around kids. They're great with kids. So I think it would be good for somebody like that. But I don't think that you should just open a daycare in your house because you're at home all day. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think that like every state and every city has their own set of like requirements for you to own and operate a daycare out of your house. I don't think it's as easy as saying like, as just doing it. I think there's some like hoops you'd have to jump through for sure. And you're taking on a lot of risk having like little kids in your house, because who knows what they would get into. So in the scenario these people are talking about, no, I wouldn't do it. Don't mess with it. I'm taking a drink of tea. Sorry. Then the other one, somebody asked me about, and it's kind of funny because I looked at like getting a job doing this in college. But it's starting a medical courier business. And I think that that's like a pretty interesting business. So basically, like, if you can't figure it out from the name of it, a medical courier, curries medical stuff. So usually they transport like x-rays, medical documents, specimens, samples from like to and from different laboratories or medical offices, but they can also like transport blood and organs. So I think this is like pretty interesting. Here in Omaha, we have tons of hospitals. I mean, there's a lot of hospitals like per capita. We also have the University of Nebraska Medical Center, which is kind of made famous because they brought in the first like COVID-19 patients. They also brought in the doctors that got Ebola in or in the Congo 2 years ago. So they're on TV quite a bit. And that's a huge medical facility. So there's a lot of medical activity that goes on in Omaha and the surrounding area, just like probably any large city. So I think that the demand would be pretty good. You'd have to make sure that like there wasn't like one gigantic business that took care of all of this. So you'd have to make sure that there would be a need in your area for a medical courier. And then when you started it up, you're just basically going to be on call all day long. If somebody needs something transported, you have to be there at the drop of a hat. To start off with, you would just need a general liability insurance. You'd need commercial auto insurance. So commercial auto insurance usually just has like a much bigger like limits. So it would probably be like starting at like $1 million of coverage for your vehicle. If you were to transport blood or human organs, you would need special licensing. And I think you'd have to go through some special training for infectious disease control. And then I think things like that have to go through like a chain of custody, a pretty intense like chain of custody. So making sure like you're documenting everywhere you go with the stuff, just in case something were to happen. But I think that's a pretty interesting business. And I was kind of reading up a little bit about that online, and it said like a one-man operation. If you were just to do it as like a solopreneur kind of thing, you can make about between like $70,000 and $100,000 starting off once you like got your pipeline full. This would be great for somebody like who wanted just a driving job, but didn't want to like drive a cab or do like Uber or Lyft, and didn't want to like deliver something heavy. So like, for example, when my dad retires, he wants just like, he likes to get out of the house and like drive around and be out in public, but he doesn't like want to, deliver pallets of pop for Pepsi or Coke or anything like that. So this would be great for somebody who is retired or semi-retired, as long as they can drive and take orders and, be reliable. It would be great. The other thing is you could probably like hire your employees as like 1099 contractors. You'd have to do a little research for as far as like the insurance goes on that. But I think you could probably hire them as contractors. So that's kind of an interesting business. It would all come down to like how much competition there would be. So, yeah, I think that could be good. So that's kind of a maybe. So the laundry was definitely a yes. The in-home daycare was definitely a no. And the medical courier is a maybe. So a yes, no, and a maybe. Not bad. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. If you guys want a business critiqued or some businesses critiqued, shoot me a message, or you can shoot me an email at theideaaddict@gmail.com. If you'd like some business ideas, if you're looking to make a change, start a business, get out of your soul-sucking corporate hellhole that you're in, you can also hit me up and I can come do some brainstorming for you. So anyway, peace.